What is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New coming at you on this bright and glorious Friday morning. TGIF, just want to say happy Friday to everybody. Hope you have a blessed weekend and positive vibrations out to everybody. Now, with all that being said, got a few things we can talk about this morning. And as we all know, there was a game on yesterday between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. It took place out in bright and sunny Los Angeles, California. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. But there's some things that I need to address. Now, I don't know if you all saw this, but Scottie Pippen is going to be coming out with a book just saying how he was the leader of that Chicago Bulls team, the locker room presence leader, and how he does not feel like he got his just due as a Chicago Bull. Now, I will say this about Scottie. For all you young people who didn't get a chance to watch those Bulls teams play, of course, I got to watch every single game. The Bulls played on WB quite often, pretty much. Every game was always on WB. You could watch it just like back in the day. You can watch pretty much any Atlanta Braves game on TBS. You could watch any St. Louis Cardinals game, I think, on whatever that affiliate was, UPN or whatever, which I don't know if they still even had it as a network anymore, but it's not sports network. It's just stuff that you can watch it on. But at the end of the day, Scottie Pippen has come out with this book. Now, as soon as he came out with the presser, and they got a couple of quotes from the book and said, you know, that where he said he was the leader of the Bulls and things like that, then all of a sudden, you already had these people on the radio and sports shows, people such as Chris Broussard and all these other Michael Jordan enthusiasts. And I know people saying, oh, I'm a Michael Jordan hater and blase this or whatever. But at the end of the day, I try to keep it nothing but straight factual around here. So with all that being said, this is the thing. So Scottie Pippen back in the day, you know, was a very key part of Michael Jordan's success. And anybody who says anything other than that got a real smooth brain. Now, I will say this. A lot of people without these memes saying, oh, Jordan never did this without Scottie. Jordan never won a playoff series without Scottie. Jordan, let's put it into perspective. I don't want to take anything away from Michael Jordan. If you ask me who is the better player between the two, then I will, of course, say Michael Jordan. But if you ask me, was Scottie Pippen a Hall of Fame superstar, all-star talent? Then, of course, the answer will be yes. Now, the thing is, when it came to the heavy lifting, especially during the course of the playoffs, Scottie was the one who was expected to do all the dirty work. Now, mind you, him and Jordan were great defensive players. I mean, great defensive players. And we all know, when they guarded Tony Kukoc in the Olympics, how they was arguing over who was going to guard them, and ultimately how Krause brought Kukoc into the Bulls fold. But at the end of the day, they both are phenomenal defenders. Now, Scottie Pippen has a longer wingspan and is a lot taller than Michael Jordan. And he was the one who was asked to go out and guard the other team's best players. And we do know in their first finals, the Lakers won that first game. And after the Lakers won that first game, we know the rest once, Byron Scott did get injured. But we do know that Scottie Pippen took on the assignment of guarding and containing and holding Magic Johnson. And then, of course, we know in the latter years of the championship, Dennis Rodman came in and did the heavy lifting on the defensive end of the floor, usually guarding the other team's best player. And if he was not in that position to guard the other team's best player, then we do know that Scottie Pippen would be more than capable of doing so, just depending on who was the other team's best player. But at the end of the day, it wasn't Michael Jordan who was required to do that heavy lifting, because we can all see the people that Michael Jordan in the 2 spot, especially during this time in the 90s, it wasn't a whole lot of level of competition at that 2 spot for Michael Jordan when you're talking about one-on-one matchups. So, with that being said, Michael Jordan was able to actually exploit those matchups quite often, night in and night out. But those were matchups that he should have won and was expected to win, and he did win. So, with all that being said, I don't know what's going on up here, y'all, but I just got to be careful. But anyway, with all that being said, Michael Jordan, I think, reached out to Scottie Pippen. Now, this is just my humble opinion because, and I don't know if I can find tape of it or video evidence of this, but there were times, and I'm telling you, this was years ago, around 2010 and 2011, during Scottie Pippen's, when Scottie Pippen was in the media and during LeBron's heyday, where they asked Scottie who was the best player, who did he think was a better player, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. And I heard with my own ears and saw with my own eyes him say LeBron James was a better all-around player. I saw that. But then, I don't know if Michael Jordan called him, threatened him, said he gonna beat his ass, or maybe gave him some money, considering he has hundreds of millions of dollars and made probably 50 times the money that Scottie Pippen ever even sniffed in the NBA, because we all know Scottie had a terrible contract with the Bulls. He was never paid his true value. Throughout his NBA career, he never even got close to mega bucks. So, money only goes so far nowadays, especially if you retired, damn near 20 years ago. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan, of course, has built a huge empire as an owner of a team, as a brand of the Jordan brand, and making hundreds of millions of dollars, and basically is a billionaire. So, I don't know. And this is just me having fun and just theorizing, y'all. So just calm your ass down. That Michael Jordan went to Scottie Pippen and said, man, there goes some millions. You better not ever say LeBron James is better than me again. And people say, no, man, no, I got to take. I'm telling y'all what I saw and heard with my own ears. Then next thing you know, not too long after that, it's like he retracted that and started saying, well, who I want on my team? Of course I want Michael Jordan. Oh, don't ever compare that. Then all of a sudden saying, LeBron was more like me. He does this and does that. LeBron more like me, not like Michael. And he's come back and forth and said all of these things. And who knows why he changed his stance. Because maybe Michael told him, look, that make us look bad by you crowning this other player. Like, we the greatest team ever. Don't be going out here praising nobody else or whatever. But the thing about it is, I don't think Michael Jordan and Scottie just had the best of relationships, to be honest. And Scottie Pippen, I think, after The Last Dance, and if you haven't seen it, please go check out my Last Dance exposed video I made some time ago, maybe last summer when that was going on. I'm gonna go back and redo that and put something together real good for y'all so you can get an idea of the picture of who the GOAT is. And for the people that was in my comments yesterday, saying all this and trying to say, oh, well, LeBron, Jordan has this better, and every edge, blah, 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 in these different categories. I brought up statistics when it came to LeBron James and Kevin Durant. I'll bring up those same statistics when it comes to Michael Jordan and LeBron. I'm talking about shooting statistics and things like that, and overall rebound, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, of course, when you talk about other things that's controlled by the media, because you can say, well, Michael Jordan has more MVPs. Well, LeBron should have easily 7 or 8 MVPs. Now, that same token, there was a lot of voters fatigue in the 90s for Michael Jordan, where Michael Jordan clearly should probably have 8 or 9 MVPs his damn self. So I'd be fair. I'm not a hater. I'm just telling you the truth. But what it boils down to, if you ask me, and this is my opinion, because LeBron and Michael Jordan are neck and neck. That's how damn good both of them are. And if you pick either one of them to lead your franchise, you are not gonna go wrong. You are not going to go wrong. But if you got a dead last ass team, and you draft the number one, and you need somebody to turn your franchise around, then you're gonna go for LeBron James, because he's ultimately trying to win the game and get everybody involved. And that's what Scottie Pippen was saying when he was asked, which I'm going to get into that in just a moment too. So ultimately, Scottie Pippen, what he was saying was Kevin Durant was his own worst enemy by continuing to shoot and not get his teammates involved, and ultimately fatigued himself out. And of course, as we all know, Kevin Durant, with his thin skin, he can never just, people are paid to talk about you when asked a question and respond. So basically, Kevin Durant, he has to respond to any critique of him. He has to come back, and I won't say go below the belt, because at the end of the day, he has every right to do it, especially on social media. Do you? I'm not knocking you for that is not the way that I would handle myself and conduct myself. Look at LeBron James. You know how many naysayers he has on an every given day basis? You know how many times people say stuff about him? Does he come back and respond to every single thing? So if you have not seen it, you saw what Kevin Durant tweet in response to Scottie Pippen was, well, isn't this the same? He said, isn't this the same great Scottie Pippen who refused to check himself into the game after the coach drew up a play for a better shooter, who that was Tony Kukoc, if I'm not mistaken, in Game 6 or whatever, or Game 7, the closeout game of the Eastern Conference first round before they got to that semi-final round. That was the year that one of the years Jordan was retired yet again playing baseball. And you see Michael Jordan definitely put this in there on Pippen in The Last Dance to shit on him, because if you're making a last dance about yourself, first of all, that season had nothing to do with the 98 season. So why did you have to sprinkle that in there just so you can throw Scottie Pippen under the bus? See, and a lot of younger generation didn't even know about Scottie not going in the game. And Scottie, I'm sure, felt bad about that, especially with Kukoc hitting the game-winning shot. But at the end of the day, you can't knock Scottie for that, because he was the leader of that team. Michael Jordan had left and quit on his team and retired or whatever. And Pippen was the leader of the team, and he ultimately won the last shot. There's been times where Spoelstra, I believe, drew up a play where LeBron was supposed to inbound. It was 2 seconds left, and he had LeBron inbounding because he's a gifted passer and wanted to get the shot to somebody else. Or that might have been in Cleveland. Tyronn Lue might have been doing that, and LeBron James said, no, I'm taking the last shot, and he overruled it. And sometimes great players can do that, but in this case, Phil Jackson is the type of coach who you're not going to overrule him. And Scottie, he was in the wrong. Scottie admitted to being in the wrong. So I don't know why Kevin Durant would want to bring that up. I guess what he's trying to draw a comparison to is, well, you're telling me not to fire it up because you want to get your teammates involved, but look at you, man, because you didn't take the last shot. Well, you can't say that's the exact same thing, Kevin Durant, because throughout the course of the game, Scottie Pippen trusted his teammates. He wasn't trying to pass it to everybody else. He was not trying to, he was trying to pass everybody else. He wasn't trying to take all the last shots and take 40 shots a game. Speaking of which, didn't Kevin Durant take 40 shots in one of those games in the series where he scored 36? How many points would LeBron get if he took 40 shots? Now let's just be real. Now, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Kevin Durant can say what he wants. But back focusing on this Scottie Pippen book, because I'm gonna have to put that thing on order, because I want to be the first person to read that. And when I read it, please believe it's gonna be a lot of videos to follow. But I think Scottie Pippen, man, he just got tired. Scottie Pippen just got tired of getting shitted on, man. You get tired of that after a while. You know, you living in the shadow of somebody else like you didn't have any sort of contribution to it, when that simply was not the case. Because if you go back and look at all the finals and all the playoffs runs in the course of the season, Scottie was leading the team in the assists, in the rebounds, in the blocks, and things of that nature. When if you look at, I'm going to show you a stat right now. If you look at this stat right here, then you will see that LeBron James is the one several times. Now you can see Devin Booker did this, but look how many times LeBron James has done that. Look how many times LeBron James has led both teams, not just his team, but both teams. That's something you guys beloved Michael Jordan has never done. If you look at all the triple doubles, playoff triple doubles, that's LeBron, y'all. He getting everybody else involved. And you splitting hairs at the end of the day, because, and like going back to what I was saying about the people in my comments saying this and that, well, if that's the case, then you can say, then the same person who said that, then you have to go ahead and get a GOAT to Kareem, because Kareem has Michael Jordan beat in every statistical category: points, rebounds, steals, and I know it's longevity, but he hasn't beaten MVPs. Has the same number of championships, more MVPs, more NCAA championships, NCAA Players of the Year. Look at this stat right here, and you can just clearly see Kareem is ahead of Michael Jordan in every single category. Now, I know there's other categories and people pick and choose, and I didn't make this meme, but there's categories that Michael Jordan is, of course, ahead of Kareem in. And like I said, you are splitting hairs, and a lot of people don't want to give Kareem his just because he only knows from the one shot. But let's think about what Kareem brought to you on the defensive end. Now, me, myself, I was able to watch Kareem play for some years. But when I watched Kareem play, it was the bald-headed Kareem. It wasn't Afro Kareem. So I never saw Kareem in his prime when he was totally dominating. So for me, it's hard for me to say that he's my GOAT. I haven't seen it, but I can go back and watch the footage and do study of it. And of course, I will put Kareem right there in the GOAT conversation with it. Now, people talk about people like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. Well, that level of competition wasn't the same, and there was only 8 teams, and it wasn't a lot of black players, and you can throw in a lot of different variables. So at the end of the day, all of it is just based off what you think and how you formulate an opinion. But at the end of the day, if you compare Michael Jordan physique to LeBron physique, if you compare Michael Jordan's skill set to LeBron's skill set, because LeBron has to fade away that Michael Jordan had at the end of his career. LeBron has to. Jordan couldn't get to the hole the way LeBron. Nobody, even the biggest LeBron hater of all, Skip Bayless, said LeBron is the best driver of the basketball to the hole of all time. And now he's one of the best passers of all time. So if he's the best driver of all time and the best passer of all time, and he scored way more points than Michael Jordan, then everybody just keeps saying, well, the championships. That is a team sport, and you have to take into account who the opponent is. You got to look at some of these Lakers. You got to look at some of these finals some of the finals that Michael Jordan won with the Bulls, who their opponent was. Like, even if you dissected the Portland Trailblazers. Come on now. You had a Clyde Drexler, you had a Jerome Kersey, you had Kevin Duckworth, you had some other role players. But when you come to a Hall of Famer, it was only one. It was only one Hall of Famer on that team, and that was Clyde the Glide. And Clyde the Glide was a great player. And I left out Terry Porter. I think I didn't mention Terry Porter. Terry Porter was a hell of a player, y'all. I'm not trying to say these teams was in the finals for a reason. But my point is, back then, the talent was so much more watered down. The talent was watered down because of not only some of the great players retiring from the 80s who were no longer playing, but because of the expansion era. When you talk about adding 6 teams, you added 6 teams during Michael Jordan's reign on the throne. You added the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic, the Charlotte Hornets, the Vancouver Grizzlies, and the Toronto Raptors, all under Michael Jordan's watch. So when you added these 6 teams, they had an expansion draft where they went around and grabbed any team so you could only protect so many players on your team. So if you had a 12-man roster, you could protect 10 players. Then the other 2 was thrown in the pool for the draft. So a lot of teams was broken up. That really had an effect on the Detroit Pistons too, if you think about that. Once the draft hit them, because they took away their goon. You understand what I'm saying? Rick Mahorn. When they took away Rick Mahorn from Detroit, that was a blow. That was a blow to Detroit. But at the end of the day, when you had that expansion draft, that watered down the talent. So you got to think, now you got all the same talent is being spread over 6 new teams. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, the talent was more watered down. I'm just being honest. So people say, well, Jordan, man, he played these great teams. Listen, Indiana was a great team when he used to have battles with Indiana in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You had Reggie Miller, right? But what other Hall of Famers besides Reggie Miller did you have? Rick Smits, he was a damn good center. Don't get me wrong. Rick Smits was a damn good center. Dale Davis, he was a good player. Don't get me wrong. What's the other Davis boy that played with him? It was 2 of them Davis. Antonio Davis, he was good. Dale Davis, he was good. Rick Smits, he was good. Reggie Miller, he was great. That's the difference. So you talking about a team that has 2 Hall of Famers, and in the latter portion of the career, a team that had 3 Hall of Famers. That are Jordan, Rodman, and Pippen. So you talking about 3 Hall of Famers, y'all. You talking about 3 Hall of Famers going against 1. Oh, then they played the Knicks. Oh, that was great battles. You talking about 1 Hall of Famer in Patrick Ewing. Who else? You talk Starks? Starks streaky as hell. Is he in the Hall of Fame? Is he that good? No. Who else? Who else did they have? Come on now. And we ain't talking about the latter years when they got, Spreewell and Larry Johnson and them. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the years Jordan was playing them. I mean, I know they made it to the finals. That shows you how watered down it was, but it also shows you how great of a player Patrick Ewing was. You understand me? Who else was he playing? Let's see. The battles against Charlotte. One great player, Larry Johnson. Did Larry even make it to the Hall of Fame? I don't know. If y'all youngsters don't know about Larry Johnson, pull his highlight reel. Larry Johnson was the truth. And I'm not trying to say that the players in Michael Jordan era was sorry. Man, them boys could ball. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I would even argue, just to be totally honest, that 90s run, even though it was watered down, that those 90s teams were even better than some of those early 2000 teams. Because to me, when Jordan did retire, and you had the Shaq and Kobe ships, in the early 2000s, you got to look at some of those teams the Lakers was playing against in the finals. Come on. Jason Kidd. Who we had? Kerry Kittles, fam? Kenyon Martin. I mean, Kenyon Martin was good, but damn. So you got Shaq and Kobe, two Hall of Famers, surrounded by great role players like Shaw and Derek Fisher and Robert Horry and Rick Fox and all that going against AI. And who AI have? You understand that? I knew those finals wouldn't be no comp because the East was very, very watered down in the early 2000s like that. You had Philly, they had AI, Aaron McKee. Who else they really have? You understand? Mutombo. Not even prime Mutombo. Then who else did they play? Did they play? Oh, the Indiana. They played Indiana yet again. One Hall of Fame. I'm just telling the truth, y'all. I don't sit up here and make up lies. So you have to take into levels of consideration who they were playing. Oh, he had 6 rings. So you mean to tell me? So like when LeBron and Wade and company and the Heat took care of OKC, well, OKC was young. Oh, they this and that. They make every excuse to try to take away from LeBron's accomplishment. But yet that same OKC team ran through San Antonio, Dallas, who had previously won the championship. So Miami couldn't get their rematch against Dallas because OKC took care of them. So obviously OKC was a damn good team. It had Harden. Think about this. Harden, Ibaka, Westbrook, and Durant. They lost 4-1, y'all. So my point is, imagine if LeBron in the finals was going against that same Portland team. It'd be over with. So that's like when LeBron put that team on his back. Go back and watch the game against Detroit. I remember when he beat Detroit in that Game 7 to take them to the finals, that young squad back in 06 or 07, whenever it was, I was going against LeBron because I was like, man, he's not going to win that finals. They're going to get embarrassed by San Antonio because I knew Cleveland was fire enough to beat Detroit and do what they got to do. But they weren't going to be the well-coached Popovich team with the likes of Ginobili and Parker and Timmy D. You understand what I'm saying? A more prime Timmy D at that. So then people want to take away from LeBron's legacy. Oh, he lost the finals. He shouldn't even been there. Because like I said in my original viral video, if Jordan could have beat those early Pistons, let's say Jordan and his Bulls teams, after the years of getting beat by the Pistons, let's just say before the Pistons fell off, they would have beat those Pistons prior to those years, and they would have got to play the Showtime Lakers, the real ones, the prime ones that was running and gunning, let's say in 88. Been over with, man. He would have a blemish on his finals record. He would have a blemish on it. But at the end of the day, Scottie Pippen is coming out with this book. I'm going to find it to be very interesting. I cannot wait to read it. Y'all read it too. And I'm going to make some videos more about the game. I'm sorry I got off the subject, but to be honest, I got a DVR and didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the game. So how about this? Y'all put in the comments and let me know what was the difference in the game last night that allowed the Suns, because Chris Paul came back. I know he probably would be a little bit rusty from coming back, and they would lose some of their cohesion because they were already playing well without him. I'm not saying keep him out, of course not, but I was worried a little bit that maybe it would throw him off just a little bit. But I saw him and Devin Booker had damn near identical stats, and that Booker and Paul was pretty much shut down. So let me know what defensive strategies Coach Lou used to shut them down, or was it just an off night by those two? Like I said, I didn't really get a chance. Had some things going on to where I couldn't really take in the game like I really wanted to. I did have it on DVR. I watched some of it late last night, but ultimately I fell asleep. So, but anyway, we're gonna always keep these discussions going, man. I appreciate everybody's comments, and I'm not roasting anybody because everybody got a right to their own opinion. But anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. Something went down the wrong way a little bit ago, and I need something to drink, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short. But as always, man, right on to the real, and much love to these haters. I'm out.